Hello, my brothers and sisters, gathered here on this beautiful day.
Hail!
To celebrate the star that has steered us by podcast.
No, I mean, it's hailing out. Oh, my.
Oh, no.
Yes, my brothers and sisters in Trek. Today, we will be discussing a new episode, a new glorious shining episode of Star Trek Discovery, New Eden, as the garden where the men and women came from. As we know, this is the new version on this world, far, far away in a long time ago. Wrong thing. And anyway, my name is Brother Jake, and joining me are...
I'm a scientist, Chris.
Fuck you!
Oh, this is Atheist Ames. Do I belong in this colony?
No!
Damn
We will
it.
burn you!
And this is good old-fashioned Catholicism, Caitlin.
You will also be burned!
I don't
Everyone
think so.
gets
I think
burned.
I'm the only one who's right, actually.
We will see. Anyway, to introduce us to this episode, I will be handing the microphone over to the less proselytizingly other Jake that's here. Come here, Jake. Yes, I'm regular Jake. Although I don't normally talk like this. I don't know why I'm talking like this today.
Nope, that's
In fact, I
that's
just
what Jake
traded
sounds
one
like. I don't
annoying
know.
voice for a different one. Fuck. Anyway, we will be talking about Star Trek Discovery, New Eden. New Eden. So anyway,
Can you
let's see
show us
what
the
happened.
way to Eden?
Ah.
Oh, no, different episode.
Yeah.
Jake, you just sounded
Herbert or
like
whatever
you were
the
going
fuck
to
it
follow
is.
up with a waka waka. That was very like, ah!
Anyway, yeah, so Discovery, they're out in space as they do, and they've detected another of those light bursts that they were looking into last time. So they're like, well, we can't quite pinpoint it, but if we go to warp for a second or two, we'll be able to detect. I don't fucking know.
Technobabble!
They do some shit. Pike's like, okay, go to maximum warp. No heading or anything. Just go. Just hit the button. So we do, and we detect that. Oh yeah, we found this red signal sighting.
Red Squad. Oh shit.
And also like Burnham finally tells, or no, she doesn't finally tell him. She tells Pike that she read Spock's dream journal, and she shows him like, look, he documented all the spots of these red signals on his thing, and they're also on our thing. Whoa! And Pike's like, yeah, Spock's in a mental institution, so maybe we shouldn't put too much stock on the shit he's saying, but whatever. So anyway, they discover where this thing is, and they're like, it's going to take us for fucking ever to get there. If only we had some other propulsion system that was way faster than warp. And then, like, they have to reintroduce, for some reason, the concept of the spore drive, as if this is not season 2.
When most people start watching a show.
Yeah, exactly. So we're re-explained what the spore drive is, I guess for Pike's benefit, even though he's previously said he's been briefed on it. Whatever.
No one briefed him that you get an orgasm, apparently.
Yeah, no one told him that
Loved
part.
it.
So yeah, we go to Stamets and we're like, hey, Stammy boy, we need to do this thing. And he's
Stammy
like,
boy.
but I might see you. You're seeing me right now, Stamets. What are you talking about?
Oh,
No,
terrible.
I mean Hugh.
Fuck you.
And Tilly's like, whatevs. You should like that because, he's your husband and he's dead. And Stamets is like, yeah, I guess. So he does it. He does the jump. No more about this Hugh stuff comes up this week. But yeah, and we find ourselves at this planet, and there's humans on the planet. So we beam down to see what's going on, and it's a pre-warp civilization. So General Order 1 applies. Not. And It turns out that this is a colony of humans that were miraculously transported here from the year 2053 by entities unknown during the height of World War III. So naturally, the humans in this colony believe that it was divine intervention that delivered them there, but they didn't know whose divine intervention, so they had to cobble together a new religion literally by cut and pasting religious texts into a new book. That was kind of silly, but they did.
They made some great stained glass windows too.
They replaced the stained glass windows in their chapel, which was transported with them, replaced them with non-denominational
all denominational, omni-denominational.
Yeah, exactly. Images. And they're like, wow. And so anyway, so our away team, who includes Uwo for wonderfulness. So she gets to do some stuff.
Because she was raised Amish.
Yeah, apparently.
Which that was explored.
Yeah, so we check this out, look into it, and turns out, we can't really tell these people that we're from space. And Pike is kind of like a weird stickler about this because his dad was a religious man or something. So he's very respectful of the religion, and Burnham's like, let's tell him it's all bullshit. They find that there's a distress signal that's been transmitting for 200 years. And we find it. It's in the basement of the church. And then we meet this other dude, Jacob, who is like the one guy who's not a fucking believer. He takes them all prisoner for some reason, or like shocks them with a stun grenade, and then steals their super future tech and tries to show it to the leader. And he's like, look, they have magic science equipment. And she's like, no, wrong.
That's religious equipment.
And then Pike's like, yeah, totally. That's just like, those are trinkets that we found that we have or something. And then a child picks up a phaser and somehow sets it to overload. And then Pike jumps on it like a grenade and blows his chest up. But it's okay. He's barely injured because they beam him back to the ship just in time for the priest lady to walk in, see them get beamed out, and be like, oh my God, the angel saved her. So they're back on the ship, and they're like, I guess, we've already kind of fucked with their shit. And we should go turn off that distress signal, but otherwise leave them alone. And Pike's like, all right, I'll do it. This didn't actually happen on screen, I don't think. But anyway, Pike beams down again. He goes to talk to the to Jacob, and he's like, look, Jacob, you got me. I'm a future man. And Jacob's like, knew it! And Pike's like, yeah, but we can't really, it's against the rules to talk about it because, your people are so primitive. So, and Jacob's like, yeah, that's good enough for me. I'm just going to turn off this distress signal now that we have the answers, and you can fuck off. And Pike's like, also, here's a really cool battery for your lights that don't work. And Jacob plugs it in, and all of the 5,000 watt light bulbs inside the church turn on to maximum brightness at the same time, blinding everybody in the town. And there's a whole new health crisis. Meanwhile, Tilly is playing with rocks.
By herself.
So it turns out that the rock, the asteroid that they got into the shuttle bay last week, turns out that 1 pound of it weighs 10,000 pounds.
Like a nibbler poop.
Yeah.
Didn't Michael pick up a piece on fucking asteroid?
That was who knows?
She's super strong. She's Vulcan strong.
It was low gravity on that asteroid.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, so Tilly has to use this special tractor beam sample container machine to extract a piece of it, but then it blows up and blasts her across the room. And then she starts seeing this random girl who is really supportive of her that we've never seen before. And she keeps seeing this girl, and she's like, Stilly, I love you. And then she's like, Stilly? Only one person ever called me Stilly.
Because it's a terrible name.
Bitch from middle school. So she goes and she's like, I bet she's on the crew. I should be friends with her. So she asks the computer, hey, where's that girl I used to know? May Ahern, as I remembered right now from my brain.
You definitely did. You didn't just read it off the card.
Nope. And the computer's like, you fucking moron. That girl died years ago. And Tilly's like, what?
Ghosts!
So apparently we have a ghost on board who is following Tilly, and we also learned that the Musk reference that
Oh my god, yeah.
Arg.
that Lorca made last season was not a mirror universe thing, because Tilly attended Musk Middle School in San Francisco, California.
Maybe it's named after that ox. The musk ox.
Yeah, maybe it's named after the smell in the hallway.
I desperately looked up if there's anyone else famous named Musk, and there just isn't. Every famous
it's obviously
Musk
an
is
Elon
either
Musk
him
reference,
or one of his horrible relatives who also suck.
Well,
because here's the fucking thing: like, the writers of the show sometimes are like, "Oh, we'll put this in so all the fucking nerds watching will be like, Elon Musk, I got a Tesla."
That's a weird way to say erection.
Oh, yeah.
I got a Tesla erection.
I've got a raging clue.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened.
You left out
Carry
a
on.
whole plot.
Which plot?
The fuck you Phlox plot, as I like to call it.
Fuck you, Phlox plot.
The planet
What was
was
it?
going to get doomed by a natural
that
event.
plot.
You're right. I totally missed that.
I totally thought you had said it and just did not even register.
I know, because I was talking about the rocks, and then I got distracted by the Tilly friend. Yeah, so the end thing with this Tilly thing, kind of the full circle there, is she figures out that so while Discovery's in orbit, some rocks from the planet's rings start randomly crashing into the planet for no reason, evidently. But they're like super radioactive rocks. So dropping them, so if they land on the planet, it's going to be like a nuclear bomb. It's going to wipe out the planet. And Saru's like, we can't let that happen. And everyone else is like, well, there's nothing we can fucking do about it because General Order 1. Actually, no, nobody said that.
No one says a damn thing about General Order 1, which I loved.
Not in regards to the radiation.
Not with the rocks, but I thought it, because I was like, didn't Pike specifically say General Order 1 applied? But whatever, it's fine. We're gonna save some people. They'll never know. So Stilly figures out that we can use the really unreasonably dense rock that we have in our shuttle bay to create a gravity field that will suck up, just vacuum up all those other rocks. And we can just throw them out into space and no one will be the wiser. So that's what they do.
You know, because the last time we poked that thing, such great things happened.
Oh,
yeah, really. I'm sure harnessing it for this purpose will be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
It was.
I mean, it was.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I did genuinely love that. Like, there was no question at all, at least in the realm of General Order 1, to be like, yeah, no, a natural disaster is going to happen. We don't care. We're going to prevent it because we can. Which is like... Fucking yeah. You know what? Yeah. Fuck you. Oh, you know, they're evolving to go extinct. Fuck you, you puffer fish fuck. We're saving this planet.
Puffer fish fuck.
Yeah.
And again, not one person is like, General Order 1, the only objection is we literally can't. Oh, wait, we have a MacGuffin in our trunk.
So many MacGuffins and so many trunks.
But I did appreciate that you know, if Phlox were there, he'd have been like, no, let them die.
Yeah, so good for them. Because, like, yeah, I get it. You can't go around playing God. You can't actively look for these things. But if you're there and you see it and you can fix things without fucking anything, fucking do it, assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I hate the way they wrote Burnham this week. Because she was like,
such a bitch.
Yeah, she was like every, like, freshman college kid who's just discovering atheism. And is just so obnoxious about it.
I want to debate everyone now.
Yeah, and it's
Michael,
like
tune it down.
Yeah, you're smarter than this. You know now is not the time or place. You're supposed to be blending in. Chill out. Like, I just feel like they wrote her severely out of character for the sake of, like, just whatever.
Well, because let me ask you, though, like, what is her character, aside from being a Mary Sue who always has the answers? You know?
I mean... clever enough to know when there's a mission to be fucking seen through.
I also like that they, like, put a lampshade on her being like, well, of course I didn't ignore your orders, Captain. I know firsthand how badly that can go. Wink to the audience.
Yeah, last season. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, her kind of debate with Pike, I felt wasn't quite fully formed. Because there's something interesting that we've seen a million times in other Treks, of course, of the... these people are, where did they land within the Prime Directive? Because she says, oh, they're humans, and now they should know that, humans still exist. And we should grab them all right now and bring them to Earth. And you're like, Michael, what? Where did you jump to that conclusion?
We should at least give them the option, though. I mean, it's true that they're, like, way outdated, but if they hadn't gotten sucked out of their own time and space, they would have been, like, benefiting from the same stuff as everybody else.
But they're...
Or they would have got blowed up in World War III, is what sounds like would have happened.
The thing is, they're entirely outside of this culture now, which Pike never quite hits that particular phrasing. He's just like, oh, no, they're pre-warp, therefore we can't fuck with them. He never says, like, they're an entirely different culture and we're not supposed to fuck with other cultures.
Yeah.
And they are their own contained thing.
Yeah, but also, like, again, they never quite say it, but they get close to it. But it's like, all other things aside, you want to drop them into the middle of a... Because, like, not only were they 200 years off to begin with, their stuff has broken. And so, in a sense, they've actually regressed a little bit, too. So, like...
But they've advanced in other ways. They've advanced in a way that they've created new religions. That's a whole new thing.
Yeah, they've advanced. They're a whole new culture, and they're even technologically less advanced than they were. So not only would you be dumping them into an unfamiliar culture, you're going to be asking them to adapt to between 200 and 300 years ahead technologically. By the time they adapt, they'll be dead of old age. Like, in a way, it's like Tarzan, It's like, and that, like, now is
they taught him how to walk and talk.
We now look at that rightfully as just imperialist arrogance of like, let us pluck this child and teach it modern ways. And it's like, you don't do that. Like, would it have been nice maybe to say to, like, science guy, like, hey, like, do you individually want to come? And let him say, nah, I'm good. But
he would have said, yeah.
I mean, that's what they did in the episode of TNG, First Contact, right?
Yeah, they have to let Warp Lady come. Fucking Giorgio managed to... Yeah,
they did.
Giorgio managed to pluck Saru off of his world. So, like, it's totally doable.
Asked.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I can see why it's like, yeah, no, we can't just upend this entire society. Like, no, Burnham, you know better.
Yeah, and they never really have that discussion.
While I was watching this, I kind of felt like these people were the, like, ancestors of that woman who, like, puts Ben in a hot box in the fucking fields.
Oh, in Paradise.
Paradise Planet.
Yeah. I was always kind of waiting for them to turn out to be kind of insane, but they're not, which is nice.
No,
they're just
sort of normal.
Yeah. They're chill.
Yeah, they're just keeping on.
Yeah.
Which is why...
remind me a little bit of the Irish from
oh no,
Up the Long Ladder. Although in their case, they knew about the future. They just actively chose not to do it.
They're from a Luddite colony,
they're
like
Irish. They're Irish Amish.
Yeah.
Which again, the great thing about never establishing anything about your random bridge crew is you can just give them random background. And if I recall,
what instrument does she play?
Yeah. If I recall, minor spoiler, I know in a future season she also gets some extra magic background when it's convenient to the plot that is never brought up again.
That's true.
Who does?
Owo. Owo is the Vulcan of this crew. When they need something, they just say, it's part of her background, I guess, because we never gave her one, really.
She has a magical eyelid, third eyelid, fine. Not, you know what? Electricity does not bother her. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so what things did Owo do this episode? Because we learned that she's from a Luddite community, even though that does not at all affect anything she does.
Yeah,
she gets them out of the basement.
That was clever.
Which was good. Even though, like, the whole time, like Jake can attest, the whole time during that scene, I'm just like, break those windows and escape. There were windows in that basement they could have crawled out of.
Yeah.
But there were spiders
but Owo got
up
to use
there.
a magnet.
She did. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, she didn't have to be from a Luddite colony, because, like I said, it never really came up. And, how
was
hard...
that supposed to be the explanation, though, for, like, why she came up with a magnet so quickly and wasn't like, let me recalibrate my phaser to, like, unlock this door? And she was just like, what if we just use...
It just makes me want to learn how someone from a Luddite community joined Starfleet.
Right?
But it sounds like it might be the same as the Saru story,
I
so
was
maybe
gonna say,
not.
probably easier, a little bit easier than Saru.
Or it's like I said with the Amish, whatever her community was has the equivalent of Rumspringa, and she was like, oh, I'm not going back. This is awesome. They have replicators.
Consider my room
Ooh.
sprung, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Would love a replicator.
Oh man, wouldn't a replicator be great? Because here's the thing.
You'd
And
never
this
have
has
to go
nothing to do with this
shopping.
episode. Well, it's not even that. It's just that like you could probably tell the replicator to make you a totally nutritious, healthy meal and tell them to make a taste of chocolate cake. And they probably could do that shit.
But it would judge you like the one in the mess hall.
I was about to
Damn
say,
it.
You know what? I don't even mind.
Still
That's
gonna
fine.
judge you.
If I could have chocolate
Turn it
cake
on
for
mute.
dinner and know that it was totes healthy, that sounds great. I'm in. Judge away, you bitch.
So also, I feel like this is the episode where Saru starts to really become the character I remembered.
Oh, yay.
Like, I love Saru because, like, and especially after the first season, you've got these like people who are in sort of in charge in some way, shape, or form are like making sure to be like actively, audibly supportive of people because like they all spent a season being abused by Lorca. Thank you.
Mm.
And it's so funny because I
Dorka.
remember thinking this years ago with an episode, one we haven't gotten to yet, but it's like he says something to somebody and it's the same kind of stuff that like people are trained to say in professional environments. But I realize like, oh, but the difference here, because this is a fictional world, they mean it. Like when Saru says like he values an opinion and that he hears someone's problems and he's listening, he actually fucking means it, unlike half the losers I've dealt with in my professional life who just learned to say that in a seminar, but it's fucking plain from their actions that they don't give less of a fuck. And it's like, oh, this is what it's like when people mean what they say, which is why it's a fucking fantasy world.
Aw, and he's a fantasy species that has empathy.
Yeah. No, I will say, like, I have since been very lucky to have someone in my professional life who, like, means it. And it took me a few months to realize they meant it, because I was so used to people lying. I was like, holy shit, you're for real. I don't know how to fucking deal with this.
I quit.
I mean, if they ever leave, I'll ask them to take me with them, so. But yeah, it's just nice to have people, like, give a fuck about each other. That's important. It's nice to see in television.
When you feel like if anybody's going to have that, it should be Star Trek.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
That feels like how it ought to be.
Yeah, especially in an age deeply lacking in empathy. Like, it's sad that we're at the point where the most fantastical part of Star Trek is people having fucking empathy.
Yeah, people
that's
saying
horrifying.
you should take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, Tilly, don't do stupid shit alone anymore.
Yeah.
That's the worst idea you've had in your Tilly.
Yeah, that's like, it's like 60s Star Trek, the optimistic part was, holy shit, we might survive to the 23rd century to explore. Star Trek Discovery, the fantastic part is we might treat one another nicely. How we have regressed as a culture, Jesus.
Wow.
Well, but to be honest, though, I would say that the fantastic part is once again making it to the 23rd century, the way things are kind of going, to be honest.
True.
But also the empathy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm just saying it can be both.
Yes.
We do still have World War III on the horizon, so.
Yeah. Well,
Woo!
You mean, I'm sorry, that's World War II, I think you'll find?
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Trump called it World War II.
Did he? Jesus
Once. No, like
Christmas.
a long time ago. It's an old reference. I'm sorry.
I thought you were just saying because Nazis are back.
No, but that's a good point also.
But yeah.
Well, the Nazis really never went away, Ames. So.
Well.
Oof, duh.
But yeah, no, it's nice. I think that's a big part of what I really like about this show is that through all its bizarre plots and tonal inconsistency and writing issues, that one thing that remains relatively solid throughout is just this, like, people try to be kind to each other.
Yeah, and these
I
characters
like
do
that.
care. The characters care about each other.
Yeah.
Well, and
Through
even
thick
like
and thin.
Tilly's like no good, very stupid idea was out of like caring for Stamets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was not well thought out, but her heart was
Because there
certainly in the
are
right
no
place.
other scientists on this ship, evidently.
Well, none willing to not think shit through.
I do think it's interesting though, like how long was supposed to have gone on between seasons 1 and 2? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Basically.
like
How did
immediately
Tilly
after.
wake up suddenly? Like, I just feel like she shifted to super genius, like, in those 2 minutes. Like, I know she was already on her way, but I feel like it's very, like, markedly, like...
I mean, the thing
It
is,
was that
like,
talk with Poe.
but also, like, she still works at her best when she's spitballing with other people. You know, like, she hasn't necessarily quite done anything yet totally on her own that you're like, it's a bit of a leap. Like, there's always somebody else in the room.
Right.
But then they have a technobabble scene that I never follow. I didn't follow any of the technobabble this episode.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, the technobabble was bad this
I understood the word donut, and that was it.
I mean,
that made sense.
And then I wanted a donut.
as far as
donuts.
technobabble goes, it felt less magical than some of it has been because spores weren't involved.
Well, it's a pretty good trick that they did that after being like, oh, it was the blah, blah, blah principle of the 28th century that says that science, it's blah, blah,
It's like,
blah, blah.
Yes, we know, Pike.
Thank you.
But basically, it was just like, I got that. It was like, all right, because the mass of the asteroid is so high, it has its own gravitational field. Okay,
The masteroid,
sure.
if you will.
That's something I'll buy. You know, that sounds like it could be science. To someone
And
like
then
me
watching
with-
it happen like it's a magnet. I'm like, well, fine. I don't know enough about gravity to question this, so I'm just going to say fine.
You tell me gravity acts. You tell me gravity acts like a magnet. I'll go sure. I was an English major.
It does clear something up for me from last week because maybe it was explained and I just missed it, but I had assumed that device in the shuttle bay that they had to.
Oh, the transform, yeah.
I had assumed that was just like a tractor beam thing, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's something that like reduces the effective mass of whatever's in it.
In a way, almost a reverse tractor beam in that regard.
Yeah, but it's not holding something there. It's just like it's reduced its effective mass because otherwise the Discovery could have just flown past those rocks.
Yeah, it's not just hovering it, and it's not just turning the gravity off in that room, because otherwise Discovery would then have that much more mass.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Or if it's bad enough, the whole ship would just crumple into the fucking be like
right.
like on Futurama when they went onto the high gravity planet and Fry was almost crushed by his own hair.
Like a
But
balloon
at the
and
same
too much air,
time
something
that
bad
it clears
happens.
up, it clears that up, it also reminds me of how stupid it was how they captured the asteroid in the first place, which was just, parking in front of it and letting it float in. Because I said last week, they should have just used a tractor beam. And I was thinking, well, maybe the tractor beams don't work on this because it's that weird exotic matter. But then they used a fucking tractor beam on it this week. So there was no reason to do that stupid, let's sit in front of it and wait till it flies in maneuver. They could have just tractored it in the same way they tractored it out. Assholes.
Yeah, I don't think about it.
On the Pike comment about, I can't remember his exact wording, but it was like anything extraterrestrial that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from God.
Yeah.
As like kind of ham-fisted and like as cringy as I kind of felt that scene was for the most part, I really actually do like that quote only because when like Picard or anybody else is arguing that someone like Q is not a god.
Yeah,
like,
or the wormhole aliens.
Or the wormhole aliens or any of these things. I'm like, okay, how? How are they not a god? Define god, because any definition of a god, Q satisfies.
Yeah.
So he, for all intents and purposes, he's a god. Trelane, a god, although he might be using like tech. But again, if it's indistinguishable from God, what's to say that it's not? And I guess the distinction is supernatural, right? Like you'd have to say that
something isn't naturally occurring, whilst
then
these aliens are naturally occurring.
But then the tricky part becomes what's the exact line you've crossed over into like, can you even prove the supernatural with scientific equipment and blah, 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 and all gets blurry and you're back where you started.
Yeah, so like, I guess the difference is gods want to be worshipped and require like
Do they?
penance or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess here's the thing. I think here's my definition. I say this as someone who's a non-believer myself, but I would say that gods or God, for that matter, either plural or otherwise, are invented by people, right? Like that's the distinction. People create gods.
Mm.
In Star Trek, there are beings that have what we would call godlike powers, but they're just creatures. They're just extraterrestrials that have these abilities.
Yeah.
It would, and like, you know, and they might be assholes and they might go to people and try to trick them and say, you must pray, you must make a sacrifice in my honor, or else I will destroy you.
Starship?
Yeah, what does God need a starship? But honestly, like the idea of a God that requires worship and penance, that's purely a human invention.
Yeah, or even a god to like to help us understand things.
Well, yeah,
say like, oh, God created this, therefore we don't have to question it anymore.
Yeah, like I think that was like the earliest theology was just, yeah, like you said, like explaining the world, and later
explaining things we don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, later on, I think, you know, clever bad people manipulated that and came up with the like other angles to help control.
Yeah, you got to give money to the priests. You got to give, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I think that like by that definition, right, of the extraterrestrial, like Pike is adopting, I think, with that quote, an agnostic viewpoint of it, because he's I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but this red angel that the people on New Eden are worshiping that think saved them, like obviously it's not a supernatural being. Obviously it's some kind of tech, or you know, an alien. So I don't know. I think that stance by or that quote from Pike is like, yeah, these people see it as a god because they have no other way to explain what happened to them.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get blowed up in World War III, and then suddenly out of nowhere they see this magical being, and then next thing they know they're on this distant planet and
where
everything's
they're not
hunky-dory.
affected by World War III, and where they can get along. Where luckily they all seem to speak standard. Even
I'm guessing standard just means English.
It must
at this point.
Yep.
Like it must.
Yep.
It must. Yeah. I'm curious. So is Michael the first one that refers to it as an angel? Because she saw it last week in her concussion haze.
I don't think she said it was an angel, but I don't know who first.
Was it
Pike?
who did?
Pike seems to be like weirdly religious, I feel like.
I thought it was something part of like the story that the priest.
Oh, maybe.
lady
Okay, so
was
we think it
telling.
came from the New Eden folk.
I think so, but honestly,
Okay.
I wasn't paying that close attention.
Yeah, because
to
my
it.
first wonder if Burnham saw this thing, why did she not just think it was an Aurelian, which is one of those bird creatures?
Is that from TAS?
No, it's isn't that
Yes.
Oh, it is?
It's from TAS, and we see another one in Prodigy.
Oh, that's right, we do.
Adric.
Well, because
I love Adric.
At this point in Star Trek, everyone had forgotten about them.
Yeah,
Because Prodigy hasn't happened yet, and everyone except Lower Decks ignores TAS because it's bad. I think.
Well, still, I think I think other alien before
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I saw the red angel too, and it's definitely an angel. Angel's a charged word, but I'm going to keep using it.
well, I mean, I think it is a charged word, but I guess that's just the word that they're going to use for it. But
Gotta call it something.
I think Burnham, being the atheist that she is, knows it's not a supernatural creature.
Yeah. I think with Pike, what I like about him in this is like he seems to want the universe to be weirder than it is. Which is funny because like in this realm of like ultra scientists, he's like, maybe there is some shit we just can't explain, and that's fine. Which makes sense for a man who's met the Telosians. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, again, line between God and, they can create hyper-realistic mindscapes like that, like, He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
The universe is fucking bonkers, and I'm gonna run with it from now on.
Yeah, and the universe is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Especially in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I think that the point is that it doesn't have to be supernatural to be like it is okay to say this is something we don't understand.
Yeah.
Because it's either we don't understand it yet, or it's just gonna perpetually be outside of our realm of understanding because of the limitations of our
it's something we
brains.
can study. Like, okay, so we have these 7 lights
Mhm.
that all flashed at once.
There are 7 lights.
Beautiful.
I
Love
was
it,
just
Jake.
thinking there were 4 lights. Yep. Love it.
Why? Remind me why we care about the 7 bursts of light.
Because it's weird, and we're
'Cause it's-
explorers.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, and 7 happened at once, but they also seem to just happen sometimes in general.
Yes.
Because they only found New Eden because another light popped up, right?
Yeah, so I guess
Is
that
it an
means there's 8
8th
now?
light? So what?
But, like-
wait, but they were supposed to be simultaneous.
Yeah.
But also, like, you can't observe things in distances in space at the
No.
same time. So unless they each got, like, someone in subspace said, oh, there was a light at this particular time, and everyone in subspace
That's
said it
true,
at the
yeah.
same time. But that's still stretching fucking credulity.
Well,
I mean,
and-
I guess-
but also, like, how are they detecting these lights? Because they said that New Eden was so far away it would take years and years
It's
and
in the
years to get
Beta
there.
Quadrant. It shouldn't take that long.
Well-
No, the far end of the beta. They
the
said
far
the
end.
far
end,
Okay,
end.
sure.
yeah.
It would take 150
years,
years at maximum warp.
Yeah, so it'd take fucking over a century to get there at maximum warp. Yet we were able to detect it
Hmm.
instantly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it does seem weird to have divided something as enormous as the galaxy into 4 quadrants. Because again, part of the Beta Quadrant is right on Earth's fucking doorstep.
Earth,
Another
and a lot of
part-
maps is in the Beta Quadrant.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Huh.
seen a lot of maps that people made of Star Trek in which Earth is in the Beta Quadrant.
Interesting.
We're renaming the Beta Quadrant
Ugh.
to the Alpha Quadrant because
The Quadrant of
Earth-
America.
the
But-
Quadrant of America.
But yeah, it
because
seems like-
there's nothing beta about Earth.
You either need
Ugh.
more divisions of the galaxy or you need sub-quadrants or something. Like, all right, yes, we're in the northwest alpha, but yeah, they didn't think this through.
Well, here's the thing though. In the 60s, like, the size of the universe has gotten a lot bigger since the 60s, and I don't just mean in the idea that it is expanding.
No, but
I
our
mean
understanding of
our understanding. Like,
Yeah.
the
That's
solar
fair.
system was, I mean, they knew that there was more than our solar system, but they fucking didn't really have specifics, or they assumed there was more.
that's true.
But they
That's
didn't have
true.
I mean,
specifics
here's the
yet.
thing.
Even in like the 70s and stuff, they were still teaching, they just didn't know what they know now. So
Yeah.
it's
The universe is really, 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 really fun to think about. So I enjoy this conversation.
I have lost track of what we're even talking about.
I don't fucking know.
All right, so we have these
universe-
red bursts. We have the red bursts
Yeah, which
that
to,
at the very... Okay, sorry, you finish your thought.
sorry, Brie, yeah, to Jake's point though, I guess it could just be that like there's 2 ways they could realize they were simultaneous. Either
Oh, yes.
again, they got a bunch of reports like, we saw this thing, we saw this thing, we saw this thing, and they're like, oh, these all happened at the same time. Or alternately, as Jake was saying, like, they know how long light takes to reach certain areas, so if they kind of backtrack from there, they can go like, oh, these happened basically the same time. But now you go
Yeah, but
on.
my point is, if it takes 150 years to get to New
Oh,
Eden at
yeah.
maximum warp,
Good point.
the light of that event
oh yeah.
would not reach us for many times more than 150 years, right? Because
Oh, 'cause
light
maximum-
travels
'cause
at the
warp
speed
is
of
faster
light,
than the
and
speed of
maximum
light.
warp is way faster than the speed of light. So
Arg.
those signals, so either we're just going to hand wave it away and say, yeah, don't pay attention, which is probably what they want. Like, they didn't think about it.
They have an
but-
outpost outside of the galaxy observing the whole thing at once.
Or,
Yeah.
since we know there's an intelligent force behind the signals, divine or otherwise, it could have set them off at differing points so that they would all reach the Federation at the same time.
But I don't think that's the definition they're going with. I think
Probably
they're actually
not.
saying that they did happen simultaneously.
Yeah,
and if you consider that, like, everything in space is moving,
Yeah.
and like the galaxy itself is rotating,
Yeah.
then the signal that you got by the time you got it would not be where you saw it. It would be
True.
someplace very, very different. So if you jumped to that point, you'd get there and be like, huh, no, there's going to be a signal here. No. It's rotated to some other position on the far side of the galaxy where we've actually basically jumped to where we started.
Yeah, I think this is closer to the mushroom side of the technobabble spectrum than the gravity.
Yeah, I don't think we need to think too much about it. It's fine. It works for the narrative.
Okay, in that case, my subsequent question, because this leads into, okay, if we're not meant to think about the science, which is fine, but we are meant to think that these things are interesting and worthy of studying. So much so that Burnham says to Pike, like, okay, because now we know, be it because, I saw a red angel and they made a stained glass painting of something that's red and has an angel in it. And I'm going to assume it's the same thing because I'm Michael Burnham and I'm always right. Now you, Pike, have to make the choice. Do we use this as an opportunity to keep studying the Red Angel thing, which is so important? Or do we uphold General Order 1? Why is getting this fucking camera from a helmet more important than General Order 1? He could have just stolen it. He could have just gone down there and stolen it and not told anyone.
Well, because at the end of the day, they all just kind of felt bad for Jonas or whatever. Like, Jacob. It's like, let's at least tell him.
He seemed nice, even though he captured us.
Come back in 150 years and he started the Jacob heresy and there's war.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fucking religious zealots are definitely... Their faith is bolstered by this event. I am sure.
Yeah,
it's interesting that they did not follow up with any of them.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more from Allmother, to be honest. Even though, like, she did seem... Oh, God, the scene in which she just expositions all over the fucking place. God damn it. This is the history that you could have read from the book or read from the stained glass windows, but I'm just going to tell it to you. Fuck you, Allmother.
Yeah. And Burnham was insufferable in that scene.
Oh my God, yeah, like, again, like...
How is this science?
Completely out of character. Like, I get that she's logical and scientific, but she's also, like, a xenobiologist, or xenoanthropologist, rather, so she should...
reads the room a little better than this.
Yeah, like, she's literally trained for this sort of thing.
Her purpose there is to observe and learn.
Yeah.
Not to, like...
Push,
yeah.
Which, again, like, it just... feels wrong for her character.
Mm-hmm.
But she ends up being right because Pike goes down there and breaks the Prime Directive.
She ends up being right because she's still Michael Burnham.
She's also right because, again, it's Star Trek, and yeah, whenever there's, like, allegedly something supernatural, there's a logical explanation. Usually.
Like, what? No, it wasn't a god. It was an alien that jizzed all over the human species. Don't worry about it.
So, I want to know something. Actually, I want to know a couple of things. One of them is, how easy is it to set a phaser to overload?
Apparently,
it seems like a small child can do it without much thought or effort. Also, secondly, why is a child playing with a gun? Like, they must... So they came from a war-torn Earth.
Yeah.
They had soldiers with them who presumably were armed.
Yeah.
So... even though it's been 200 years, I'm going to assume that everybody still knows what a gun looks like.
Yeah.
And that thing, ray gun or not, looks quite gun-like to me.
Yeah, like...
So you'd think that a child would have been told from a young age, like, yeah, don't play with guns.
Well, you can tell a kid not to play with something. They're still going to fucking...
Yeah, kids these days play with all kinds of guns all the fucking time.
Yeah, I was going to say, which is why responsible gun owners have gun safes.
But
yeah, like I know folk who are like who are raising a small child and trying not to, like, idolize guns, and yet still the kid comes home from school and it's like fake, doing the guns things with their hands and like pretending to shoot
guns
shit.
Are fun.
Like they learn what guns are.
And even if even if you're into guns, finger guns, like are hard to they're good. They get a point across. They're a huge part of bi culture. But also, yeah, it's not like a TNG phaser where you could look at that and go like, what the is that a gun? Is that a tool?
It's a vibrator? What the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, oh God.
Oh God, set that fucker to stun, baby.
90s era phasers are the dumbest things. I hate them so much. Like, who designed those?
Are they dumber or less dumb than Enterprise Fisher-Price phasers.
Ugh. Okay, they at least don't look as cheap. I'll give you that. But as a design, like, who was like, yeah, let's make our guns look like remote controls.
Okay, but are any of them as bad
Dustbusters.
as those horrible flashlights?
Fair.
How about the
You
green
mean
symbols?
palm beacons?
Yes.
But yes, it should not be that easy to set a phaser to overload, but then again, it also shouldn't be that easy to get into the shuttle bay. And there's a lot of things. Star Trek just, guys.
Yeah.
There should be more security clearance to get on the bridge.
But yeah, setting a phaser to overload should definitely require, like, a special code or a sequence of buttons you're not going to accidentally press.
And how is Pike not killed or at the very least put into a beeping chair by that incident?
Well, and I think that's what you're meant to expect, you know? Like, oh, it's like, oh shit, is this where it happens? You know?
Well, no, because we know it's due to
Delta radiation.
Yeah, during training.
we learned in the
but like,
menagerie.
you know, this is I don't know, a
Retcon.
slightly special new old Star Trek.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, it's interesting because, I mean, obviously most major characters in a Star Trek show, their main characters, they've got plot armor. But, like, Pike is the first time we've encountered, like, no, really, though, he has to survive this. We know where he ends up.
But he doesn't have to survive it in good health.
No, that's true, but he has to be in good
lose a
enough
couple limbs
health.
to it.
Yeah, he has to be in good enough health to be in worse health later.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could imagine that he was severely injured on an away mission, and that's why he was relegated to doing
training missions,
training missions in the future or something.
That's true.
But anyway, yeah.
So this is when we learn, Spock is in some kind of a psych ward.
Oh, yeah.
And Pike knows about it, and we know, and Michael stole fucking Spock's logs because she's a psycho. And says, like, okay, here's what Spock thinks. And Pike, for some reason, like, is like, Michael, can I put this on you to go talk to Spock? Even though I, his captain, have a much better relationship with him? God damn it. Another moment of people not reading the room.
Or it's Pike being, like, trying too hard. It's like, maybe I can fix their relationship through this. It's like, Pike, now's not the time. Buddy, you mean, no.
Yeah, so that's something they would get to set up for later.
I do appreciate that Starfleet finally has HIPAA.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we can't tell because he asked us not to. It's like, what a unique idea in the world of Star Trek.
We can't tell because he asked us not to, but because of extenuating circumstances, we're just going to throw that out the window.
Yeah. But at least there had to be extenuating circumstances this time.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas in the past, it was just like, you could walk into sickbay and drunk McCoy would be like, hey, you want to read some people's medical files for fun?
Look at all the tests I did on Chekhov.
Let's make fun of the wart on this one ensign's ass.
Michael's never been in love.
I already forgot about that.
And now she's fallen out of love because she doesn't like Ash anymore. But the other thing I wanted to bring up, as the last thing in my notes worth talking about, is I think Tilly has regressed to
you mentioned that last week.
Entirely manic Tilly.
I said that exact thing last week, and they've definitely retooled the character in the break.
Yeah.
And not in a good way, in my opinion.
No, the concussion friend isn't gonna help.
At least then she has someone to talk to, because before May shows up, and Tilly is just blathering to herself. And it's like, sure, I understand you need to convey this information to the audience, but this is stuff that when she's saying it, sounds like absolutely terrible dialogue. And not even dialogue, terrible monologue. Because she's like, oh, if I do this and this, oh, I wish Michael were here. Where's Michael? It's like, why are you saying these things?
Way back in the day, they tried to do a Doctor Who serial where he didn't have a companion. And they were like, we just had him talking to himself way too much. We never did it again. Yeah, and it's strictly so the audience can know what's happening. Like in a book or something, you can just read about it in paragraphs of text. Yeah. But in a show, you can't really get that across. No. Or you pull a David Lynch's Dune. I was just gonna say that. I had it in the chamber. I was ready. You zoom in on the face and have the whisper voiceover. For some reason, everyone's whisper voiceover is Kyle MacLachlan. Yes. Put your hand in the box. Hi. I know this sounds like Kyle MacLachlan, but I'm actually Tilly. and I'm all stressed out right now. And oh no, my head. Ow.
I would love to have Kyle MacLachlan doing my voiceover at all time.
So
You think
big
that,
deal.
but sorry, go ahead, Jake.
So it's a big deal, and it continues to be a big deal that Tilly is in this command training program.
Yeah.
What is that? Because I haven't seen her doing any kind of command training activities.
I know.
She's just doing what she normally
Science.
does.
She's just science.
When she's not on duty, she has to read extra books.
Do the
That's probably
Kobayashi
exactly what
Maru.
it is too.
Like, I thought part of it would be like, maybe she's mentored by Saru or something.
Yeah.
Which would
you
be
know?
nice.
Actually, she is doing it because, as we know, commanding officers are always just like fucking breaking the rules and flying off the handle and ignoring
That's
the
fair.
instructions of their chief medical officer. So actually,
Yeah, no, she's nailing it.
she's getting the best hands-on training she can get.
Yeah, all she has to do is be Kirk and like thrown and like mutiny, and all of a sudden you got control of a ship.
I think
I mean, she also has to kill Geordi. That's the
Yeah.
other
That's,
requirement.
that's fine.
I think the reality of the situation is just that whatever it would be, it's the kind of thing that wouldn't make good television, so it's happening off screen.
Yeah, but I feel like the writers fucking dropped the ball on that
True.
because they should have made it something
Yeah, it could have
interesting.
been
like
interesting.
like her being in the command training program should have changed the types of responsibilities she has on the
Yeah,
ship.
you're right.
And she should be having to deal I joked about killing Geordi, but like that whole thing with Troy and having to make tough choices, like they could give Tilly some kind of choice that she has to make, whether contrived because of, a test or just, I think, something more natural where it's like she has to make a command decision and it's a challenge for her. And maybe that's like she keeps questioning whether or not she should be in the command training program because she keeps fucking up.
Yeah.
But I think she should be questioning whether she should be in the command program because, oh my God, do I have what it takes to make these command decisions? Because, people are put at risk or whatever. And like, maybe she comes around and is like, yeah, no, I actually am good at this and I should be in the command. But it should be a character journey for her. So far, it's just she's doing the same shit she normally does. She gets injured and she's like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah,
Am I
she
getting
puts
kicked out of the
herself at
program?
risk.
And it's just kind of used. I don't know. I don't even know what it's used for, to be honest.
Yeah, because when Saru comes over and she says, "Oh no, is this going to affect my placement in the command training program?" And he says, "No, it won't affect it at all." And I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
You can see the choice she made that was to recklessly play with dark matter without telling anyone and almost get herself
Dark matter.
killed instead of like, creating a plan involving a team, things that people in command do.
Yeah.
She's gonna be terrible.
Oh, poor Tilly.
Yeah.
I do
But she's a
kind of
good
wonder.
scientist. She's not a leader. She's a scientist. Let her science.
Yeah. Although she is also like wicked young. I mean, no one's a good leader when they're wicked young.
No, but like
But
I
she
feel
should
like
be getting trained to be a leader.
making this whole command training program a plot device and then just totally, farting on implementation.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Did you like the little glasses she got to wear when she poked the dark matter?
Those were fun.
Yeah.
You made me think of something I wanted to say. It's going to be really interesting because, our understanding of dark matter is still very, very nascent. And it's like just kind of it's at that stage where science fiction is just it's whatever we need it to be. It'll be funny to see if within our lifetimes they figure out more about it and these episodes will look extra ridiculous, kind of like how there's that one TOS episode where they're talking about I think quasars or something that we now understand much better, but at the time they were and what they said about them was 1000% wrong.
There was one point, because I'm re-listening to our TOS journey as we repost them to the Blue Sky, and there was one episode where they call something a black star. Because at that time, I remember us talking about they didn't have the word black hole yet. They called them other things.
Black Star is cooler.
Yeah, isn't it? It's so much cooler and so much more indicative of what it is.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It's not a hole.
Yeah, it's like we renamed it to something that was a worse definition.
Yeah, Black
a more
Star
confusing
sounds badass.
definition. Because I think what people think of the image that, because they know that black holes are very, very dense. So they have a large gravitational field, so they attract things. And I think what people imagine when they think about stuff going, quote, into a black hole is that it's like going through a hole, like water down a drain.
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
Not at all what's happening. It's like it's absorbing material. Like anything that goes, quote, into a black hole, it's really just passing the event horizon, and then it's
trapped
within the
trapped
event
there,
horizon.
Probably
it's still
crushed.
there. It might be compressed to all hell, but it still exists.
Forced to watch Event Horizon. Oh my!
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Jake try to make a segue.
This isn't a segue. No. This is a wrap up. I want to say, I think this episode is quite flawed. We've talked a lot about some of the goofy shit. Aside from like Burnham doing her best Christopher Hitchens impression, and Pike being kind of dweeby.
Who's Christopher Hitchens?
He's a famous British author, speaker, personality. He's dead, but he's atheist, and he's like very atheist about it.
He's like, I will talk everyone out of religion kind of guy, huh?
Oh yeah. He's really good at it though.
No, he's great. He's great. He was, but he is kind of he comes off as a prick is the thing.
Because he has an English accent.
That's
how they do. Yeah. I remember when
Richard Dawkins has the same problem.
Well, and he's like drifting increasingly right too. So,
well, Christopher Hitchens was right as well.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him, so I wasn't sure. But yeah, no, like Dawkins rather is falling into the worst sort of bullshit.
Richard Dawson. Oh no. No, I remember when this episode first aired and I watched it. I remember really liking it. And rewatching it, there are a lot of flaws, but I do think we had a really interesting conversation about things, though.
Yeah.
I was going to say my comment was going to be that I still really like this episode. It's different. It's kind of, I think, structurally, it's one of the better episodes that we've seen so far of this show because it advances the season arc. This angel sighting signals thing, but there's like a self-contained Star Trek type story that happens, and it's good. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It feels like it mattered. The characters have some growth. It's not like the fucking wispy spore people.
Yeah, who felt like a letdown.
This
felt interesting. I enjoyed this. This felt very much like a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, it feels like a really well done, it feels somewhere between a good TOS and a good TNG episode. It's like, it feels like the better bits of both those series kind of squished together.
I can see that.
Yeah. To me, it actually reminds me of some of the one-off DS9 episodes that happened in the middle of the Dominion War arc, where it's like, okay, the Dominion War is still happening, but we're going to take a little
take me out to the holosuite
breather. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. But I think that this was more successful in some ways than a lot of those DS9 episodes, because you have episodes like Take Me Out to the Holosuite or Children of Time, which is an episode I love.
Children of Time, yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, but we're just we're forgetting.
We're pressing pause.
We're pressing pause. This one, like the plot of this episode continued to advance the overall plot and give more information about that. So I really appreciated that. I think if they can do more episodes like this, I'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah. And I thought Jacob too. That guy just did so good at looking sad.
Yeah, good sad face. He could give Stamets a run for his money.
He could.
Speaking of Stamets, one last thing I want to pick on, because I always hate, because shows do this all the time. Shows and movies do this all the fucking time, where characters in a room are having a conversation, something. Suddenly, the door opens, and whoever is on the other side of the door walks in and answers the question you just asked.
Oh, Stamets,
that moment killed me.
Just
that was fucking
jumps
terrible.
Into the conversation, having not been in the room. And I want to see one day, someone jump into a conversation and that not be what they're talking about. It's like, no, that's not what we're talking about, Paul.
Yeah, you're out of your element, Donnie.
There was this really interesting cut early in the episode, you just reminded me, where it's from the beginning. Burnham and Pike are talking about Spock's logs. Like, oh, Captain Pike to the bridge. And then they kind of cut away, and you think it's someone who's going to be walking into the room, but it's them walking onto the bridge.
I missed this cut.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a little weird.
You saw this is a Frakes episode, right?
Oh, it was. I didn't
Yeah,
know
this is a Johnny Frakes.
Huh.
Yeah, but that
well done.
Stamets entrance though was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just it felt so weird. It felt like it was like Sorkin-esque in a
Yeah.
way.
But in a bad way.
Also, like, Tilly bursting onto the bridge with her idea, but that is like an issue Star Trek has had since day one, where everyone forgets they have intercoms on this fucking thing. Just time is wasting. Call the bridge. Don't run there. But again, that's something Star Trek has done since forever, and I get it. It's you need the characters all in the same space, television, blah blah
it's more
blah.
dynamic, blah blah
But
blah.
But at least she didn't have a giant swollen hand while she was running.
Ugh. Ugh.
But yeah, so we talked about some other how much we liked other series.
Good segue, Jake.
Next Generation.
Yeah, we said this reminded us a little bit of a Next Generation exploration.
That's true. So yeah, we are continuing our fantasy recasts. Caitlin is here this week. Oh, actually, since you're here, quick question.
Yeah.
The one person none of us knew from your cast was your Sulu.
Yeah, so he is an actor who was in... Remember I went through that really lengthy K-drama period?
Yes, I even suggested he might have been from one of those.
He was the hot Japanese guy that showed up in the first one I watched.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, you know what? He's beautiful. Let's just do that.
I'm into that.
That's also
beautiful.
why I put his name. Because I knew you guys wouldn't know who he was.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's kind of what I thought. I even suggested it. I was like, he could be from one of those shows.
Well, goddamn, you were right.
So,
what can I say?
But yes, we are continuing with TNG this week. Who would like to go first?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
Do it.
All right, let me see if I can remember who my people are. Because we're going to start off. Our first character in Ames's fantasy cast is our new Jean-Luc Picard, and who just stoically demands like authority and like stalwartism and all this shit. And I thought Jane fucking Lynch.
Yes! Oh my god!
Especially because she's so fucking great in Only Murders in the Building, and I just find it like...
Oh my god, she is.
She's great in everything,
that.
dude. She's amazing. And I fucking swear, she can play anything.
Yeah.
She can. Yeah. Like, she's a chameleon, and I could just see her swaggering onto a bridge and saying, like, okay, this is what we're doing, people. Get on it.
Love that.
I haven't found a place for her yet, but she has kept popping up into my mind as we've been doing this. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, that's good. I hope I see her again then. The next one I'm going to have, I have an alternate Riker that this one was tough for me. I had to go back in time a little bit because who's got Riker energy? Who's got like big balls? I'm going to swing my chair over my leg over a chair energy.
President Johnson.
My thought was young Bruce Campbell.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yes.
Like Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell, with or without hand, TBD, maybe chainsaw.
I'm here for it.
But I fucking love Bruce Campbell all the time, but also young Bruce Campbell is just especially, like, Riker-y to me. So I was into that. He's got,
like, Weird Al's crazy eyes.
I love his eyes, especially in any of the...
No, it wasn't a complaint. That was definitely a feature.
Movies. Yeah, so I love him.
Good call. Love that.
My data, I was almost tempted to change after our discussion last week, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't change it because I just love Rami Malek too much. Last week, Jake said Rami Malek would be his Spock, and I said, yeah, but I want him as Data too. I want Rami Malek as everything. I love him.
Rami Malek as TNG's Spock.
Rami Malek is going to be the only actor ever to play a different character in at least one of everybody's fantasy casts of the Star Trek series.
If he's the new Jeff Combs, I'm into it. Because, yeah, I like him. I think he would bring such Data energy to things, and it would be fun. Next up, I have a pretty good Beverly Crusher for you guys. Mm-hmm. Because, she's kind of the mom of the ship. Everyone treats her kind of like she's their mom. Except for the lead, who wants to call her mommy, which reminded me an awful lot of Sam from Stargate, Amanda Tapping.
I've not seen Stargate, so I don't know who she is.
Me either, but I'm into it.
She's fantastic.
I assure you, she's
side
perfect.
note, she looks like a Kess.
Ooh,
she's like a badass soldier bitch.
Yeah,
who's also a scientist. So,
and she's also like, I didn't realize how, because in Stargate she's usually being a soldier, and when I tried to just find a normal headshot of you, she's just blinged out and hot. I'm like, Amanda Tapping. I thought you were my mom. But I do love her. I'm going to go on to our Worf. I'm very proud of our Worf for this because my Worf is someone who is badass and can kick rump. And that is Frankie Adams.
Oh, nice.
She plays Bobby Draper in The Expanse. She's Samoan. She's beautiful. I love her.
It's funny because I popped up and it's like, I've not seen it, but I get a feeling that's an Expanse person.
Yes. Yeah, I think she's also like, she could play a Klingon tomorrow and I would buy it every day.
Yeah, fair.
That'd be great.
I think she's going to be in the new live action Moana-ish.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for her. She's excellent.
All right.
My Deanna Troi, and this is a little bit pilfering, but, I think, Caitlin established we can pilfer last week when she pilfered data from...
I was going to say, did you take Alan Tudyk? I thought you meant...
What?
No, I thought you were saying nothing. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Pilfering from other shows' casts.
I mean, that's what we're doing.
Perfect. Do it.
So the person I'm pilfering from another Star Trek series is Ella Purnell, who's usually Gwendala.
Gwyn.
Yep.
But I just think, she could bring the nuance to Troy. She has the giantest eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize, she just looks like Gwyn. Her eyes are that big.
Mm.
And I want someone who has, the chops for a Troy.
Yeah.
So love
and
her.
she's English.
Cool. My new Geordie LaForge might be on the nose, but I couldn't help myself because it's Richard Ayoade.
Yes!
Nice.
Oh my god!
That's great.
That's a good punt.
I love that! Oh, I regret everything about everyone I've chosen because that's perfect.
Yay! I was very proud of this one because, he's just the most stylish man, and have you tried turning it on and off again?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Love my sweet style.
I mean,
so
that did work in Contagion, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did. Blue. Lastly, we come to Wesley, and I wanted
and Leasley.
someone who can be like that kind of child prodigy character without being so obnoxious about it. And my thought for that is Bella Ramsey. They are very cool. They're in The Last of
Game
Us.
of Thrones,
Not
right?
The Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us.
Yeah,
right?
Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us. She's
Yeah,
in Last
they're-
of Us
they're
and
Ellie?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they're Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones.
Is that the little girl that has the stone thing and they're not Ramsey's, Stannis's daughter or whatever?
No. She's the head of one of the northern houses who's a child, but she's a total badass.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Bella
I've not-
Ramsey rocks it.
I've not seen any of those shows, but yeah, from what I have seen of them,
Yeah,
I
they're
think it would totally
phenomenal actors. They also show up in a lot of commercials now, which are funny. But I think that's what Wesley needs. Wesley needs someone super competent and sassy.
fair.
And there's just my list, so we're good.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, the
I want
Woodstock
to
show.
go next because I don't want to continue to be overshadowed by you guys.
Okay.
Do it.
I see what you did there.
Initially, I had thought it would be really funny if I cast the whole show with X-Men characters. And then I ran out of time, so I didn't do that. But I don't know. I feel like Ian McKellen, they're from the same school of acting.
Yay,
He's
and they're such
fabulous.
friends.
They're best friends. I just
love
feel like
them.
I would love to see it. And I feel like he would be different enough, but also have some similarity. So I don't know. I like it.
That's a cute choice.
Thank you. Oh,
Ooh.
I just thought,
Ah,
who's
Pedro
hot
P.
and has a beard?
Yes.
Who would I like to call daddy? Oh, yes, of course. Everyone's daddy.
Pedro
So,
Pascal. We love him.
Yep. I love him. And he's also just a phenomenal actor. He does sci-fi. Look at how fucking cute he is.
He's got
Have
that
you
same
seen
mischievous twinkle in his eyes.
Have you
Yeah.
seen Last of Us, Caitlin?
I think I saw an episode or
it's
two.
so good.
I want to watch it though because I love zombie shit. So, but yeah. Anyway,
That's a
I
good
just love him.
choice.
He's hot. He's good. I love him. He's in.
Yay.
Speaking of pilfering, I think is next. I thought initially, okay, so I went on quite a journey with Barkley because at first I was like, well, who trying to think about Geordi, and
You
I'm
should
like,
say who the actors are because
People will be listening.
Oh,
people can't.
I don't remember who. I'm sorry.
Dwight
Who
Schultz.
plays Barkley?
Dwight Schultz, yeah.
Yeah,
Dwight
Dwight Schultz,
Schultz.
a big fucking douchebag. I don't really want to give him more work, but we're assuming it's already gone by, and he had this work anyway, kinda.
Yeah.
So I went through like this whole journey with Barkley because at first I was kind of like, I wanted to cast him as Geordi. Because I was
Ooh.
like, who's the next biggest sex pest in the fucking holodeck?
God.
But then I was like, but I really didn't want to whitewash Geordi, so I.
That's a good point.
And I also, but then I thought, oh well, I have, I tried to get some other diversity in the cast, but then I thought, yeah, but that's not a good reason to. So anyway, so I decided to go with this because I thought, okay, if I can't pick the person who is the biggest perv in the holodeck, I'll just pick the person who is the most person-y, and he was it. So
Cute.
I just wanted to use him somewhere. So
Fair.
there he
Well
is.
done.
There's Dwight Schultz, the fucking douchebag. I said what I fucking said.
Not gonna lie. Almost did this.
Yeah, Pulaski is just a better character. Catherine Moldar is my girl. And
Diana Moldar.
What did I call her?
Catherine.
Whatever.
He's Catherine Pulaski. So.
Oh, well, anyway. So suck on that, you fucking haters. I love Pulaski is my forever doctor.
So we're not just recasting Crusher, we're just replacing the character of Crusher with Pulaski.
I
Oh,
understand
damn, I
this.
love that idea too. Yeah, why not?
She just always... Okay, fair enough.
Yep, that's it. So, bye, Bev.
Poor Bev.
Whatever, fuck her. She's
love
fine. She's fine. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. I love Pulaski. I'm the only one. It's fine.
No, I love Pulaski too.
Yeah, I like Diana Muldaur too. I think Diana Muldaur is a stronger actor, to be fair.
Yeah,
not
they
to
didn't-
shit on
But not as
Gates
good of a
McFadden,
dancer,
They also
Yeah.
just
Probably
didn't
not.
give Gates much to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually gave the Pulaski character more of an arc.
They
Yeah.
gave Pulaski
Yeah.
stuff to do, like be a racist to a robot.
Well,
Oh, okay, cool.
And then learn, and then grow, and that's
and
perfect.
really
And
want to
get old,
get
and then
stuffed
not
with
old
crumpets.
and really want to fuck Worf in that one episode.
Well,
Yes.
Which fair.
Well, when you see who's playing Worf in my version,
Oh, I gotta
no, I
see
don't know.
it.
I'm
Let's
just
see
kidding.
it.
I don't know if he's actually. I mean,
Let's
I
find
would,
out.
but I don't know if
Clicking.
anybody else would.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now, Dave Bautista
Yeah.
is not going to get fucking warfed by a blue barrel. And I
That's
just,
true.
He would
Oh my
fuck
God, I
up
would
that
love
blue
him as a
barrel.
Klingon.
I just feel like he'd be great because I feel like Drax is already kind of like he really doesn't understand human bullshit.
Yeah.
But again, too, I just feel like he's fucking huge. So I feel like this is a Worf that would get so much respect because he would just be like, actually, I'm a mountain of a man.
I like it.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Deanna is
Specifically, this is Minnie Driver as played by Molly Shannon on SNL.
Oddly specific.
Wow.
Well, it's because
That's
she's
specific.
a fucking idiot in that, and I just... She famously, like the one quote I always think of when I think of Minnie Driver, or Molly Shannon as Molly Driver in SNL
Minnie Driver.
is, well, I is a letter, isn't it? But she's drawn an I. I just feel like, I don't know why, Troy's a useless character.
Or Troy.
And I actually hate Molly Shannon, so this
You do?
this
Even
transcends.
better.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Molly Shannon is like just about the most obnoxious person on the planet. So, anyway, Molly Shannon is Minnie Driver in SNL. I forgot I
Wow.
did this.
This is wonderful.
Oh my God, it's perfect.
I forgot
Tell us
that
what
I
it
did
is. Tell us
that.
what it is.
It's I chose Alfonso Ribeiro to play
Shorty.
Geordi
Wow.
because he's a big nerd, but he's also handsome, and I like that about him.
Yay.
And I just like it's like he's been relegated to like hosting game shows and like America's Funniest Home Videos, and I just feel like maybe if we gave him something with a little more meat.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Nice.
I love it. I just also just love Alfonso Ribeiro, so I don't know. Just my own bias.
I enjoy him as a game show host, you know?
Oh yeah, me too. But I'm just saying, I could see him as Geordi.
Oh yeah, it definitely tracks.
And
Okay.
who's last?
Yay! I was hoping you would do this.
Wow. This is wonderful.
The picture's
I
even
love the
good.
suspenders.
I know. When I put the pictures
yeah, look at
together,
that.
I was like, I love this so much for myself. I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy that
Jaleel
played...
White.
Jaleel White?
Sure.
Yep.
Yep.
Jaleel White. but specifically
As
as
Urkel.
Steve Urkel as Wesley Crusher. So, and actually, this is a surprise for you because I had initially been thinking there's a character in Doctor Who is kind of the like super annoying wonder child from back in the 80s called Adric. And I had thought of using him, but then when I don't know, I just felt like I really wanted to capitalize on Wesley being fucking annoying. So I grabbed the most annoying person I could think of, and that was Steve Urkel. So
I'm just like picturing like in Evolution when Stubbs is like, this fucking child fucked with my fucking shit. Did I do that?
Okay, but for that one, Stubbs needs to be recast as the guy that played the father in Family Matters.
Yeah.
Cannot think of his name. Love him in Die Hard.
I know the actor, but I can't remember his name either.
I feel
he
like
was
he's
also
a
in Die
three-name
Hard.
guy. Yeah.
The guy that plays cops
wasn't he
and
also
everything.
wasn't he also Die Hard?
We were just
Did
saying
you already
that.
say that? I'm sorry.
I just said he's in Die Hard.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
All right. I guess I'll go then.
Oh, my everything.
Thank you. Excellent. Good.
Oh.
How many Danny DeVitos do we have this week, Jake?
I'm gonna just I don't want to set unrealistic expectations, so I'm just gonna tell you that I did not do a joke one this week. These are only real ones.
The
I
joke one
apologize.
was so good.
It was.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Okay, everybody seeing this?
Yep.
Well, if you missed it, they're all up on the Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll have to go look.
All right. So as Captain Jean-Luc Picard, I went with B.D. Wong.
Oh, I love that choice.
He's a fun actor.
He is a fun actor.
I wanted to put him somewhere, and I don't think I ever did.
Yeah, I was like, I had so many candidates for Picard, and I think I probably went with the one that was like the least like Patrick Stewart's Picard of the ones I was considering, because I was like, I was looking at my list and I had like F. Murray Abraham and I won't spoil the rest in case Chris picked one of these, but anyway,
Chris definitely picked
and I was like, these are just all like old bald white men. And then I had B.D. Wong and I'm like, yeah, B.D. Wong. So B.D. Wong.
B.D. Wong has something of the David Duchovny about his face.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, there is.
You're not wrong.
So moving on to Riker.
Hell yeah.
I took an interesting take with this. Gwendolyn Christie.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, that tracks.
She's so tall.
Damn.
Super tall.
And I would, yes, please.
Yeah, super tall and super good actor. Yeah, so Gwendolyn Christie, Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones.
Now I
also
understand why
other
that
things.
alien wanted it so bad.
Phasma.
I love her.
Oh yeah, Phasma. Terrible character.
But
Waste of an
what
actor.
a fucking waste. Imagine getting her and just sticking her under all that shit and then not giving her more than like 5 words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Who did I pick? Oh, okay. My pick for Data might be a little on the obvious side.
Uh-oh.
Jim Parsons.
Oh my god, yes!
Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. Which I don't know if I've ever actually watched a full episode of The Big Bang Theory, but I know enough that I know that Jim Parsons would kill it as Data.
He would be great. I love that.
Also, stylish man.
Excuse me.
All right. Now, for Dr. Beverly Crusher, I went with Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Who plays Juliet Nichols on Silo. She played Lady Jessica. Yeah, she played Lady Jessica in the Dune movies.
Silo is
great.
That's Timothy
Silo
Chalamet's mom?
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ames.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm just saying, watch Silo. Silo is excellent.
So yeah, she's great. You know, and she was also in a show called Man in the High Castle. She was very good in that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's always excellent.
She's always excellent. I think she'd bring a lot to this character.
I love her, Lady
the
Jessica.
character of Beverly Crusher. Worf. Okay, now if my Jim Parsons was obvious, this is incredibly obvious, especially if you're familiar with the show, which I don't know if Chris and Caitlin are, but I went with Christopher Judge, who plays Teal'c.
Yay!
I know he's basically Stargate Worf.
He is Stargate Worf, yes.
I have never seen him with hair.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen pictures of him as the character.
They do some weird stuff with his hair as that character too, if you watch the show. Like he'll suddenly have like Jerry curls in an episode, and you're like, what's happening here?
Is he usually under a bald cap?
No, I
In
think
Stargate?
I think he had a shaved head.
Oh,
I
okay.
just think that
He's a bald
for like
cap. He's
one
got a
season
six
they
head
grew out
there.
his hair and it was like this kind of like greasy looking Jerry curl type.
Yeah, I'm used
But
to
it was
him
still short. It was an
bald
interesting
with-
look.
bald with like the little thing on his forehead.
Yeah, sometimes he has like a bleach blonde soul patch. It's
that's
it's
Oh,
strange.
that's not no.
But yeah, Christopher Judge, he's amazing as Teal'c. I think he'd bring a lot to Worf.
Indeed.
There.
Now, for my Deanna Troi, I went with another Dunk actor and someone who's previously appeared on as a replacement. I went with Zendaya.
Oh, there you go. I was expecting
that's
Timothy
great.
Chalamet.
No, who played Chani in Dune.
Okay.
Nice.
And
You find
part
a
of that
really
is
good
just
picture
because
of
like
her.
that Deanna Troi is kind of a blank slate.
You can do anything with her.
You can do anything with her. So
Listen-
honestly, it didn't really matter who I picked, but I like Zendaya. So I went with her.
Zendaya might be the only person in the world with sharper collarbones than Marina Sirtis.
True.
Yes.
you've done
Those
well.
are terrifying.
And did you like how I found a picture with her hair in similar style?
Oh, yeah.
to
Good
Yeah.
job, Jake.
Pictures
Look at
here.
that.
Plus, she's getting married to Tom Holland, which, I mean, I love their love so much.
And she's got an Emmy,
Yeah.
as evidenced by her holding an Emmy in this this photo.
Actually, she stole it from Tom Holland. He's bleeding on the floor in that photo.
He
Oh.
cut,
Clearly.
he cut himself on her shoulder blade.
You could stab somebody
Yeah.
with the wings on that,
You really
Yeah, I was just
could,
thinking that.
Jesus.
It's
just dripping with
like a
blood.
scythe. Yep.
All right, so where are we next? Oh, Geordie LaForge. Oh, he's got some like stragglers and hair over in this photo.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't do him up too well. Anyway, I went with
Alfonso Ribeiro.
another character who's previously appeared on somebody else's list, Amanda Tapping.
Oh, wow.
Samantha Carter from Stargate SG-1.
Fair enough.
I love her for all the reasons that Ames already said, so I won't go into it, but I think she'd do a great Geordie.
Interesting. That's cool.
And then for Wesley the Crusher, I went with Justin Long.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's
Brandon
love
from
him.
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, that's a good punt.
I like that.
He is the reason I will never buy an Apple product. Because he was so unlikable in those commercials.
He was kind of a prick in those commercials, wasn't he?
And it's sad as we were supposed to think he was cool. It's
Right?
Like, Apple? All right. Well, my turn.
Oh, Chris's list.
All right. I forgot to do transitions again this week, so we're just jumping
That's
right
okay.
in.
Hooray!
I am going to fix history's greatest casting wrong. As Jean-Luc Picard, an actual Frenchman.
Wow.
Jean Dujardin, whose surname I am almost definitely mispronouncing.
Who is that? Is that the artist?
Yes, he's from The Artist, but I first became aware of him through the delightful OSS 117 Cairo Nest of Spies, which is not so much a parody of Bond movies, but a parody of the knockoff Bond movies that came out in the 60s, and also a piss take of Western imperialism. It's really very funny,
Wow.
but he's also very dramatic, as we know from The Artist, and he's actually French. So,
Nice.
there we go.
Is this a more recent picture?
I'm not positive,
He's
to be
just
honest.
like aging like fine wine.
Oh, yeah, no,
so-
he is a handsome man. Don't know what he looks like without hair, but we'll find out.
we
Now,
can keep the hair. We can write that
I
out.
am continuing by stealing a Star Wars actor for my Riker, but I'm going with Diego Luna.
Yay!
Yeah,
Ooh.
nice.
Can't
'Cause I
wait
was
for
like-
season 2 of Andor.
I was like, I want a guy, like, here's the thing. I love Jonathan Frakes, but one thing I think I never quite bought with Riker was that he's this, like, girl in every port sex guy, because even younger, Frakes just has this kind of, like, fun dad energy
Yeah.
that, like, doesn't make me think he's a very sexual being.
Intergalactic space slut.
Whereas I believe that Diego Luna fucks.
Trick question, bitch.
Next
Awesome.
up, for Data, Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Great
she was
choice.
on my list for Data.
That's
She's
an
What a
She's
excellent
great.
choice.
great pick.
You know, she's got this slightly otherworldly look that I think would fit well with an android.
Slightly?
And you wouldn't even have to pale her up that much.
I'm gonna say
Yeah,
I'm
really,
not
they-
unconvinced that she isn't an android. So good.
I'm not
choice.
convinced she's not an alien. So for this one, I have a very specific era of an actor you've all heard of. Whoops, I have the wrong order on my list. Sorry, we're on Crusher, not Geordie. And that is Mira Sial. She is a British character actor, largely comedic. Deep cut, I know her mostly from Doctor Who and her voice work on Phineas and Ferb. She would make a very good, intelligent Dr. Mother character. Who is next on the list? Because my written list is different from the slideshow. Let's find out. We've got Colin Salmon as Mr. Worf. Colin Salmon.
He was an Arrow?
Yes. He's also a British actor. He famously was, I don't know how seriously they were considering it, but he was a supporting character in the Pierce Brosnan James Bond films, and there was some serious talk of him, or some talk of him possibly taking over the role from Brosnan. So he's an action guy. He's got a fun, deep voice. I think he would make a fascinating Mr. Worf.
Mr. Woof.
Meow.
All right, now I think we're on Geordi, right? Or are we on Troy? We'll find out when I click.
We're on Troy.
We are on Troy. And I have picked
nice.
Natasha Demetrio with her cat, but really just her. Known, of course, to many of you as Nadja from What We Do in the Shadows.
Nice.
I was like, I think someone with a comedic background should play the character.
And a cat.
Real Marina Sirtis is quite funny in interviews, and I know exactly who to pick.
And honestly, to be fair, it has occurred to me multiple times watching What We Do in the Shadows that if they ever needed someone to come on and play Nadia's mom for some reason, Marina Sirtis could do it.
Yeah, I'd buy it. So and that has been her photo on Wikipedia for ages, her with her cat. So I used that one. Geordi, here we go. The very specific choice.
Wow.
Not just Lawrence Fishburne, but little gangly Apocalypse Now Lawrence Fishburne.
Wow.
When he's still geeky as fuck and not yet cool guy Morpheus. He's a kid who's trying to be cool and he's not quite managing, which felt very Geordi.
Oh,
but we know he will grow into someone more serious, as Geordi eventually does.
I almost feel like Lawrence Fishburne could have fit multiple characters at different eras of his career.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so very young Lawrence Fishburne. This is pre-Pee-wee's Playhouse Fishburne we're talking for Geordi. And then for Wesley, I less focused on the annoying aspect, more like who was someone who's probably a pretty solid child actor? Dev Patel.
I was thinking Dev Patel too.
Remind me.
Good.
He was, back when he was actually young in this photo, he was on a BBC show I've never seen called Skins. He became more well-known when he was in Slumdog Millionaire. I know him now from a lot of his adult work. He's in The Green Knight, and among other things. I love The Green Knight. But a really solid younger actor as well, so I thought, hey, he could be Wesley and maybe be less annoying.
I love how most of your list is remove the British from Picard, put the British everywhere else.
Yeah, give everyone else British.
I accidentally made everyone, a lot of other people, very British. That was not my intent, but, they were...
Classic Chris, though.
Uh-huh, mm-hmm.
Boy, Gov. Good choices.
Yeah, so that was good fun. I do love that a bunch of us took Star Wars actors for our Riker.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I had some other kind of honorable mentions for a few. I think you guys hit on a couple of them, like Tilda Swinton. Obviously, I was thinking of her. And I already mentioned. Wait, who did I mention? Oh, F. Murray Abraham for Picard. I also was thinking, kind of in the same vein, Ben Kingsley.
Oh yeah,
Picard.
There was a huge temptation to it would work, but it would still kind of be a joke, which is why I didn't. But to just say Tony Todd as Worf.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm sorry.
Kern.
Kern.
Oh,
Worf's brother.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I also
Worf. There's almost too many options for Worf. Jason Momoa would be an interesting Worf.
I considered Lance Reddick.
Lance Reddick, yeah, also quite good. Yeah. I could actually see Lance Reddick as Picard, even now that you mention it. True.
No idea who that is. I'm nodding yeah, totally.
You've seen him in things. He's in everything.
Yeah, he is. Sure. Passed away.
He's deceased.
Not too long. 2023. They have a nice little. He's also provides a voice and model for a character in the Horizon games, and in the DLC for the second one, you wind up in the ruins of Hollywood, and you wind up at the Walk of Fame, and the only name that you can still read is Lance Reddick's.
Did you see the John Wick movies?
So
yes, that's
two
right.
of them, I think.
Yeah, he's the concierge at the hotel.
The concierge at the hotel.
I don't remember, to be honest, but
okay.
I was very close to picking Mara Wilson for Wesley instead.
Oh fuck, that's a
from,
good pick.
Matilda
is that from Matilda?
And Mrs.
Oh
Doubtfire.
yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she was
I don't know who that
very,
is.
very competent child actor.
Yeah, that's a really good call.
I thought briefly about the kid from The Good Doctor for Data.
The good doctor.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, he's good. I know his
He
name.
was also
but
James and the Giant. No, not James and the Giant Peach. He was Charlie in the Chocolate Factory or whatever.
Yeah, I
well,
can't
he was
think
a
of
lot
his
younger
name, but-
then.
Yeah, totally.
But his good doctor persona, like that era.
Yeah, he's a good actor. So
he is. Yeah. Who else was I thinking of? I feel like I wish I had thought about doing more, like thought of doing any, I should say, gender bending, because I didn't bend any gender at all.
Yeah, I only did with Data. Yeah, I gotta admit, I actually came up with Dev Patel first and worked my way back into Crusher. Because I was having the hardest time with Crusher, because I think with Crusher and Troy, it's the same thing of like, they didn't give them much to do, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I almost would feel bad casting anyone in that part. It's like, it's like, I mean, that's gonna be the hardest part of Enterprise, is like, I don't want to subject someone to being Mayweather.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Archer.
The way I'm trying to frame it in my head is who could elevate these characters?
Yeah.
Who could do? Who, when given these characters, would they suddenly decide, oh, this person can handle more or can handle something different? Let's change.
Yeah.
Let's change the writing room to fix it.
Yeah.
Guys, recasting Trip is going to be hard.
Oh, I got a great trip. I don't know if you guys will think so, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we were all pulling out some fun, albeit unexpected ideas that have all worked. So
Yeah. Well,
think if I
thanks,
had
guys. That was really fun.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I'm
look
enjoying
forward
these.
to doing
Part 1 of DS9 next week.
next week.
Because there's
Yeah,
too much
first
DS9 to do at once.
Yep.
Yeah, DS9 Part 1 next week, as well as another episode of Star Trek Discovery. In fact, the next episode of Star Trek Discovery, Point of Light.
Funny how that worked out.
So we will be covering that, as well as revealing our DS9 picks next week. Until then, you can find us, as always, on the internet, SoundCloud, SSHB Podcast. You can also find us on Tumblr, SSHB Podcast, or sshbpodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Blue Sky, Spotify, YouTube, all the tubes. We're everywhere.
If you haven't found us on the YouTube yet, you can now listen on YouTube. If that is,
you can
some
listen
people
to us. You can
like that better. So you're
Yeah.
welcome to do what you want.
You can listen to us there. You can put us on Apple Tunes, whatever. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Listen to us anyway. Whatever way you listen, why don't you find a way to give us some kind of a review or like hit us up on social media, tag us on Blue Sky. We'd love to hear from you.
And
I know I would.
Definitely do, because Ames, and primarily Ames, I would say, has been putting out some fucking beautiful content.
I would love if it weren't primarily Ames. You guys are welcome to use it.
Well, and so as always, this has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
And also with you.
Amen.